What's up, guys? Happy Saturday. Chuck and Jayhawk here. We got a little short NBA slate today. They cut off the Denver game, which kind of sucks because Jokic is out tonight for like the first time this season. So I guess not the first time we had DeAndre Jordan before, but would have had a few more pieces from that game if they kept it on the slate. But both DraftKings and FanDuel cut it off. Short slate. We have a couple of injuries, but how you doing, Jayhawk? What do you think about today? Oh no, can't hear me, huh? Um.
Yeah, man. Doing good. I
Oh,
just
okay.
did briefly hear echo, but I think that's gone now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, there was echo. I think we're good now. But yeah, doing good, man.
Why does today's slate seem so hard to figure out, Jose? Because it is hard. These slates are going to be kind of difficult towards the end of the season. Like, I don't think we have the super chalk today that we've had on some past days. But I mean, Bruno Fernando, Peyton Pritchard, like Derek White, seems like it's been pretty normal recently. But we don't have any like super cheap values other than Bruno Fernando, I guess. I mean, are you looking at Bruno Fernando tonight?
Yeah, man. I don't love the Fernando chalk here, but um there's no Okongwu, so I totally get it as the backup center. Great matchup as well. So yeah, I like it here. I'm not a huge fan, but definitely chalk I'm willing to eat a little bit
Yeah,
of.
yeah. Like Jalen Johnson is also out for Atlanta. Johnson, Okongwu, Trey Young, and so and then Mohamed Gouye. I thought I was looking at him earlier, but I guess I was looking at something else. And so Bruno Fernando, chalk on the slate. He's going to play minutes. We haven't projected for 20, but Clint Capella is coming in with a little less than half the ownership, projected for 27 minutes. He could see a few more minutes, but we already know they really don't like to play him more than 30. Like, it hasn't been that different with a Kongwu out. So we'll have to see how they split this up because this, I don't even think this is 48 minutes. This like thinks that they're going to run without a center for a couple of minutes. But how do you like Clint Capella instead of Bruno Fernando? Are you playing them together at all?
I don't know if I'm playing too much together. I think you could potentially. Obviously, Fernando having power forward eligibility, but I probably would like to play one in particular. I don't know. I think they're both in a great spot, but kind of want to maximize the upside with one of them.
And then, I mean, this whole team is pulling ownership. This is a big spot on the slate, given how low the total is, 214.5. Atlanta versus Charlotte, like, I don't know. If I saw this total on the sports book, I feel like I would expect it to be like 10 points higher. I don't know. This seems like kind of a low total, but Vegas is really accurate with this stuff. And so DeJounte has been on absolute fire. Like in terms of the studs today, where does DeJounte rank for you?
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. The total does seem really weird for these two teams, but I mean, I really like Dejounte here. I get he's really priced up, but this is just a fantastic spot for Dejounte with no Trae Young, per usual. So yeah, really like Dejounte here in tournaments.
And not to get like too in depth on Atlanta, but Bogdan Bogdanovic is a guy that I just really hate playing. But I did get to a bit tonight. Are you looking at him pretty hard tonight?
Yeah, he's the one guy I wasn't getting to too much. I know he's pretty chalky on FanDuel. I don't know, man. 6,600 seems kind of correct for him, so I wasn't getting there that much, personally. Though.
Okay. Yeah, DeAndre Hunter is the other weird spot. Like I'm getting more of both of them than I would have expected. It might just be due to the slate. Like my lineups are pretty mid-range today. If it doesn't have Bruno Fernando, then the cheapest guy is like 5K, Peyton Pritchard. So looks like I'm going pretty balanced. I mean, we don't have that much to pay up for. We have Tatum at the top of the index. We have DeJounte, Wemby, and then I guess like Devin Booker, KD, Demantis coming up next, and everyone under that is basically under 9K. So like from the top of the studs, who else are we looking at? I mean, we get Wemby at 6% on DraftKings after he just didn't he have like 70 fantasy points last night?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Wemby. I was at the
Oh,
game last
nice,
night.
nice.
It was awesome, man. But yeah, gets a pretty good matchup once again tonight on the back to back against Phoenix. So at 6%, man, I would be a little bit worried about potential minutes ceiling here on a back to back, but I think he's in a fantastic spot. So definitely fine getting to Wemby per usual here.
Nice. And Jose, which studs are we for sure getting to? So if you're making a bunch of lineups, I feel like we want to be over the field on Wemby, and it's like we haven't projected for 6% on DraftKings. If you play 12% Wemby, you're 2x the field. Like it's pretty good. In terms of like my own exposures right now, Jason Tatum is the stud that I'm getting the most of, and I mean makes sense, top of the index. But he's like my 10th highest owned player, so I really am living in the mid range today. Getting to a bit of Jalen Green and Fred Van Vliet. this is another spot I wanted to talk to you about. So Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Amon Thompson, and Dylan Brooks. Tell me about these guys.
Yeah, I think all these guys are pretty solid. We'll start out top with Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet. I think these guys are both pretty safe here. I always mention I think Fred VanVleet kind of the safer play, Jalen Green more of the ceiling type play. So I think both are really solid in GPP and cash. And then Dylan Brooks, I always consider a GPP play. I just feel like if he's shooting well, he's good, but if he isn't, then he's has a really low floor. So he's kind of the guy I'm not too high on usually.
It's so funny with Dylan Brooks. Like he was a chalk last time. I don't think the Occupy guys really liked him that much. I thought he was fine. Like I didn't like him. I didn't like hate him, but he had like the best game of his career, and then he gets ejected. And I mentioned this to my buddy, like he's having a career game. He got ejected. What an idiot! And it's like, would it be a career game for Dylan Brooks if he didn't get ejected? And the answer is no, it wouldn't. So, but 4,500 on DraftKings, like I like this better than the 5,200 on FanDuel. 16%, like it seems appropriate. And then the other guys' prices seem pretty appropriate too. Interested in Jalen Green for that ceiling. I think you mentioned that last time they were on the slate. Like Jalen Green probably has a higher ceiling than Fred VanVleet right now. But like Fred VanVleet's been doing this for years. Jalen Green hasn't. And so I don't mind mixing it up between the two.
Yeah, I agree. When some for some reason like FEV's prices came down. I know he hasn't been as consistent the past 3 games, but I think that price point's a little bit too low for his role right now.
Yeah, it's like he was doing really well with Sengun out. I mean, he's still doing really well.
Yeah.
37. It's not a terrible game. It's we're not happy with that in DFS, but yeah, FUV's been great, and they're playing Utah tonight, which is I don't know. I feel like that's a team that we really like playing guys against. So
hmm
kind of like getting to this Houston game, and then Jock Landale came in like 1% last time. We mentioned him on the stream. Put up like 45 fantasy points, 4,700 tonight, 55 over on FanDuel. Uh, any Jock Landale for you tonight?
Yeah, man, I was right there with you. I was shocked that he had a huge game, but I think he's fine, man, in tournaments like as a stab. I don't know if I'm gonna get to a ton, but it's a great matchup for Landale. So if he sees any extra run, I think he's a really solid tournament stab here.
Okay, nice. And then the other team, let's get through some injuries. So Jalen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis are out for the Celtics. So that's why Jason Tatum's top of the model. Derek White's popping. Peyton Pritchard has been like better than I ever thought Peyton Pritchard was going to be in the NBA. I wish they would just raise his price though, because having 40% Peyton Pritchard every day is going to get old real fast. But these top three guys, I love all three of them. I think their ownerships are great. I'm going to probably be actually over the field on all of them. Not sure about Tatum, but Derek White and Peyton Pritchard I'll definitely be over the field on. What about you?
Right there with you, man. I had a ton of Pritchard and White yesterday, and it's kind of the similar situation. We also do have Jalen Brown out today, so I love both these guards. So I'm right there with you.
I will just mention again that Chicago does have Caruso. So it's not really going to affect any of my decisions. Like they're going to switch off ball stuff anyway. And so I'm still going to be getting to these guys a bunch.
Yeah, and then Tatum's also questionable. I think he's gonna play, but just another note there: if he doesn't play, even more usage to guys like White and Pritchard. The rest of the guys in Boston. So
Nice. And then on the other side of this game, we got B Don asking thoughts on AO with Kobe back. So I mentioned it's like the same thing that I talked about AO last time. He was 6,900 on the previous slate. Kobe White was coming off the bench. Kobe White played 30 minutes. AO played 40. 40 minutes, and we're talking about a guy. AO didn't he put up almost 50, and we're talking about a guy that put up zero stats actually in 30 minutes earlier this season. So insane. You'd love to see it, but I feel the same way I did last time. I think his price is a little bit too high, but I still don't mind mixing him in as a GPP play just because he has that ceiling. It's not going to work most of the time, but when it does, like it did a couple days ago at like 3% ownership, it's really going to help you get to the top of the leaderboards.
yeah, man, right there with you. I also did note on my Discord. I loved AO. I believe it was the last night in tournaments. We did have Kobe White back, but he can just like he plays a ton of minutes, man. He can really get it going. So I love that call there with AO.
Like let's say Kobe White starts tonight because they did start Torrey Craig instead in Kobe White's first game back. Like I said, Kobe White still played 30 minutes off the bench, and so if he does start, it's probably another 5 minutes. It's going to affect. Like I don't know if it's going to affect AO's minutes. It probably affects guys like Torrey Craig or The other guys didn't even play enough minutes to lose any minutes, but I don't know. The point is like whether Kobe White starts or doesn't start, it's not going to change too much for me since he's already going to be on the court with these guys, like sharing the court with these guys for enough minutes that I don't think it's going to change too much. And they're all going to come in super low owned anyway. So
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Courtney likes Trey Jones today. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we both are into Wemby at 6%, Trey Jones 8%, 10%. He's been pretty great recently. What do you think about him?
Yeah, man, I think he's fine, man. Let's see, yeah, 6K. I think he's good for 30 plus, and he's shown us the ceiling. So yeah, I don't know if I'd make him like a heavily exposure type play, but if you get to him at 6K, I definitely am fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's at least 5x 5 games in a row, but the big thing is playing 32 minutes plus basically every game now, which is one thing that I didn't like about the Spurs before. Not a lot of guys were playing over 30 minutes except for Vassell and Keldon Johnson when he was starting. But 32 minutes of Trey Jones at 6K. I mean, he's under 10% ownership, right? 8% on DraftKings, 10 on FanDuel. Like, this is a guy I wouldn't mind being like double the field on again. You have 15%, like, you have a ton of Trey Jones, you're good. Anyone else from the Spurs?
I'll know Vassell. Like he's just kind of a guy for me. He just plays a ton of minutes, kind of like Ao, just very consistent in terms of the minutes he plays and his role. So I like him a lot in tournaments as well.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's all good.
Uh, yeah, Vassell. He fell off for a few games there, but this guy's fantastic. 50 plus point upside. I mean, Phoenix isn't the easiest matchup, but 7,400. What was his ownership coming in at? 12%. Like, seems fine. It's a guy that I'd be happy to get to tonight.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
in terms of other injury, so for Portland, we saw Duop Reith. He actually pulled like 12% ownership last night. I was surprised it got that high since we had Tillman and Wiseman starting in the earlier games. But we got DeAndre Ayton ruled out kind of late. Duop Reith started. He had a pretty good game, and he's coming in at 4,500 tonight. Oh, Portland versus Denver. I'm sorry. This is not on the main slate. This is a night
I
slate,
wish it was,
guys.
man. I
Yeah.
said the same thing.
Well, if you're playing the single game, Simons is out. Ayton's doubtful.
And Jokic and Murray are both out too.
Yeah, and Jokic and Murray are out. So this is a great single game. I mean, you're probably going to leave some salary, so less chance of a dupe tonight. But this is kind of like these aren't the showdown salaries, but you're definitely going to probably be leaving salary unless you're just unless there's like a nut lineup and everyone's going to dupe it. It's going to be some fun single game strategies. But
Definitely.
anyways, Utah, John Collins questionable because of his face, but he played in the previous game, so I'd expect him to play tonight. Jordan Clarkson is still out for Utah. Lauri Markkanen's going to take a rest tonight. So Keontae George has like really emerged as kind of Utah's. I mean, Lauri Markkanen's sort of their best player, but Keontae George, like he's the guy that Utah is going to care about developing the most. Minutes have been secure, 33 projected tonight. I mean, modest ownership. He's up to 6,500. What do you think about these guards, Keontae George and Colin Sexton?
Yeah, man. I think guys are both great tourney plays here. You mentioned George. It's kind of crazy because I preferred Sexton earlier on in the year, and it kind of seems like George is now that guy for me. I don't know. He's just been a little bit more consistent, and you mentioned like I think they're really trying to build around him. So yeah, I like George in tournaments, and I think Sexton's still fine, but I do prefer George as of right now.
Okay, nice. And then Taylor Hendricks is a guy that some people were asking about last time. He's 5K tonight. Like Lauri Markkanen's still out. I would say, I mean, pretty much what I said last time. If John Collins is in, I'm not going to be terribly interested. And even if John Collins is out, like Hendricks is fine if he's like a last play in type player. He hasn't shown that ceiling. The minutes are good though. And so if he's like the last guy to finish your lineup, I think that's fine. Not too interested in the rest of the team here.
Yeah, like you mentioned Hendricks, I think he's fine. I looked at him like earlier today. I just feel like with all this new value and good plays we have in these other teams, it's really tough to play Hendricks here for me.
And last note in the model, he's not in here, but Omer Yurtseven is questionable tonight, and he was getting playing time in the past couple of games, and he was cheap. I can't even see his price right now. He was like almost min price. Again, if you like build your lineup and you need a 3,400 guy to slot in at center or utility, there's worse options than Yurtseven.
Yeah, agreed, man. And then that John Collins news is very important. I think. I mean, Kessler's kind of priced up, but definitely still an important piece of news there.
And this game could definitely be a blowout. I mean, we're looking at an 11.5 point spread, so uh, we're not quite in blowout territory, but obviously we know that this Utah team is just this is tragic right now. And Houston's been rolling. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure we got all the. Were there any other big injury spots that we haven't talked about yet?
No, we covered the Celtics. I think. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Yeah, we covered everything.
Gary Trent is probable for Toronto. Quickly's still going to be out. Barrett's still going to be out. So, I mean, we'll get into Toronto in a second. And then for the Wizards, Marvin Bagley's back, projected to start at center. His price, I think, is probably the appropriate price. And I usually say if they're good to go, they're good to go. But since it was kind of an extended absence, I'm a little bit more hesitant to get to him tonight, I guess. But I mean, you guys know that I like Bagley as a GPP play all season.
Yeah, I like that call. He was like when I built my dummy build, he was my last piece, and I think he's a really solid tournament play.
Nice. And Poole is questionable too. He's been starting with Tyus Jones out. I would expect him to start again if he does end up playing. But if Poole is out, let's take a look at Washington actually real quick. Like if Poole is
Jared
out,
Butler
yeah, I was gonna say, is it Jared Butler time again? 4,600,
might be.
4,400.
I think so, man. Like, so I've been kind of up and down with this guy because he had a couple of games where he was bad, and then the last game he always had a great game. So I think I can finally trust him here. So Poole's out, man. I really like Jared Butler if he's out. So
Yeah, for me, it's just like I don't think any of these guys are good. I mean, he put up 36 in 31 minutes, took 19 shots. Like 19 shots is very encouraging. If Poole's out, like we saw it once, he might have the potential to get up to 31 minutes again. So I wouldn't mind that. But if Poole's in, I'm not. This isn't a spot that I'm really going to be getting to. The other guy I was looking at on the Wizards, I was kind of surprised how low his ownership was the past couple of times these guys were on the slate. Corey Kispert. Now he's pulling 14 and 11%. Interested at all in Corey Kispert, 5,400?
yeah, I mean, I think he's solid at 5,400. He's been a lot better the past game or two. Pretty good matchup as well. So definitely fine with him, but would like him a lot more. Pools out. Additionally.
And then the two guys at the top, Kuzma and Denny Avdia. Model loved Kuzma last time, put up a ceiling game. Denny, I think, had a good game too. Not a fire game, but he was fine. Coming in for 22% at 7,100. This seems crazy. Denny Avdia 7,100, but I don't think he's a bad play at this price and ownership. And then Kuz, if he was like 8K, I'd probably just jam in Kuz today, but that 400 does matter a little bit. And so I'd like to be a little bit over the field on Kuzma also.
Yeah, man. I also preferred him at AK. I liked him a lot the last slate. But I agree, 8,400 seems probably close to correct now for him. So
And before we get into the positions, I just want to look at Toronto real quick because this has been the team I've been having the most trouble with. Like we talked about, was it yesterday that Grady Dick finally had a good game? Jordan Nwora was bad again. Agbaji went off.
yeah.
Bruce Brown had a. I don't know if I already said that. Bruce Brown had a bad game, but what are you looking at from Toronto?
Yeah, man. So Gary Trent's back for Toronto. I don't know, man. This might sound a little bit crazy, but I kind of was looking at Gouet. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Mohamed Gouet, but I think like with Jonte Porter out, he should see some minutes here. I don't really know his like fantasy point per minute, but if he's 3.3K, I think he's fine to take a stab at. But the other guys, like I think Bruce Brown should be in a better spot here. The game should be closer. Only a 6 point spread, so I'm fine going right back to Bruce Brown, man. Especially in a tighter spread.
Nice. And this is hilarious. I was looking at the injury report for Atlanta, and Mohamed Gaye is out. He's injured, and I was like, I thought I had him like projected pretty well in my stuff, and now I see that it was Mohamedou Gaye. Two different people. Mohamedou Gaye plays for Toronto. Mohamed Gaye plays for Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Mohamedou Gaye because this was a guy I was considering too at 3,300 as kind of a pivot to Fernando. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that literally sounds like they're the exact same player, man. That's insane.
I didn't even notice it. I thought that there was just a mistake when I was looking at stuff earlier, and it was listed twice. But and Lewis in the chat, it's pronounced Gay, Mohammed Gay. Yeah, I have no idea. I've never heard this guy's name said out loud. So good call.
Yeah, good call.
And is Fernando good chalk? I don't think he's bad chalk. it's just that he's playing minutes and he's so cheap, and he is a good producer when he's on the court. So, but what do you think?
I don't want to highlight him as like bad or good chalk. I think he's fine chalk. It's a good matchup, and I agree he's a pretty good producer. So I'm fine just eating the chalk personally.
Yeah, it's like I don't love it. Excuse me, but him and Pritchard right now are my two highest exposed guys for today. He only played 4 and 9 minutes. Okongwu was back for these games, but like look at these fantasy points. It's pretty great. Hasn't translated in when he's playing like 22 minutes, but if he gets that 22 minutes tonight, has that 30-point ceiling, even if he only puts up like 20 something, then I mean it's going to be enough, right? And they're playing against Charlotte. It's a matchup we love. We mentioned the low total, but I don't know. I'm going to be right around the field on Fernando. I don't have a take on. I don't want to be far over, and I don't want to be far under. So probably just stay with the field.
Completely agree with you with the ownership thing.
Turning y'all up over the UNC game. Jayhawk and I were talking about that before the game. I think we decided we want them to lose.
Yeah, man. I'm also a KU fan, so like we all UNC and KU always battle. So I definitely want to see UNC lose.
Nice. Let's go ahead and look at the guard position. So point guard, shooting guard. DeJounte, D Book, Jalen Green, D Fox, I still like tonight, and Derek White with kind of an insane OF index projection. I mean, 7,600, and he's ranked basically the same as De'Aaron Fox and Jalen Green, who are much more expensive. Yeah, he's pulling a lot more ownership, but I think it's appropriate. I think Derek White is one of the better plays on today's slate in this price range. Probably the best in this price range, anyway.
Yeah, man. White, I think he almost had a triple double last night again. Like he's been balling, man. And he even got some blowout run as well. So I think he's such a good play. Shooting guard eligible as well. Like I love Derek White tonight.
And dude, this is insane. Delano Banton and Peyton Pritchard have a higher OF index than like Devin Vassell and Bogdan Bogdanovic, Jordan Poole. Dude, this is crazy. Like Peyton Pritchard, I'm all in on Peyton Pritchard. I'm buying into it. He's been great. It's like he's getting there in regular time, and then if it's a blowout, he's getting the fourth quarter too. So this is like a double dip of a play. But Delano Banton at 0%. I mean, he's on the night slate anyway.
I keep
But
forgetting it.
it's still bizarre though that Delano Banton showing up that high. Something to consider if you're playing the single game. What about some of these mid-range guys? Like, let me sort by ownership here. I mean, the highest owned guards: Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. I agree with that. And then it's Fred VanVleet, Bogdan, DeJounte, Amon Thompson, Jalen Green. I mean, I'm in on all of these guys. Are you trying to get away from any of them?
I don't. I think probably the guy I'd be most likely to get away from is probably Bogdanovich. But I mentioned I also really like. I don't know. I haven't mentioned, but I really like Amen at 6,600. He's just a guy I've been really fond of. He's really young, talented player. So I'll probably be over on Amen, probably less on Bogdanovich. They're kind of the same price. So that's just kind of my stand there.
I kind of like that call. Yeah, like I mentioned, I usually hate playing Bogdanovich. I am playing him tonight. But Amon Thompson, like he's looking like a SAR out there, man. It's like
Yeah.
in the beginning of the season, Amon couldn't even see the court, and Asar was balling, and then now it's switched. I mean, Asar is dealing with medical issues, so he's out for the season, I believe. But Amon Thompson, I mean, he only played 26 minutes against Chicago. I'm not sure what happened there, but he still put up a 5x basically. It's been fantastic. I mean, he's not really playing over 30 minutes in any game, so that is a bit of a concern, but he's such a good fantasy producer. I mean, it's just this rebounding floor is so strong. I'd like to see more in the stocks category. And then, honestly, if he scores 15, that seems really good for him. So happy with 15 points. I think he's a fine play. Going to be playing a bunch of them tonight.
Yeah. Love that.
Any thoughts on Poku as a pivot off of Fernando? 28 minutes last game, dude. I've been beating the Poku drum, and he has not helped me win anything yet. 3,600. He's in the opposite, like on the other side of the Fernando matchup, so they're probably going to be matching up against each other. Actually, I don't mind it as a pivot. Like Fernando is definitely the preferred guy. What's Poku's? Let me just. I know we're on guards right now, but let me just pull up Poku's on Charlotte. So we have Pokuševski projected for 21 minutes, and he actually has a pretty good value score for being projected for 21 minutes. He played 28 and 21 the past two. Obviously, has potential to play up to more than the 20 anyway. Yeah, Poku seems great. I wouldn't go like I'm not going to play 50% Poku and 10% Fernando if I was making a bunch of lineups. But yeah, I don't mind mixing in Poku and getting a little bit less of Fernando if that's a route you want to go. You're saving $300 too, and if you can do something with that 300, it might matter later.
Yeah, man. Maybe it's the key to the slide is playing both Poku and Fernando, right? A little mini game stack correlation there.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, Poku has power forward. They both have power forward eligibility, and it's like, I mean, we've talked about how tough center's been, and again, another tough center night. I mean, we got Clint Capella, Wendell Carter, and Mohamedou Gay. It's
Okay.
like there's nothing I want to do with center Kelly Olynyk. Like, it's kind of gross, but
Yeah.
let's finish up guards real quick. From the value side, let me get main slate on here. Reggie Jackson breaking the model. Uh, but yeah, Peyton Pritchard just seems like such an easy play lately as long as he stays around this 5K range. Even when he gets up to 6K, I'm probably still going to be playing him, hoping that his ownership falls. Vit Krejci, I think, is terrible, but do you have a different opinion?
I literally just learned about this guy a couple weeks ago, so I'm probably not going to be playing him, but I'm kind of right there with you.
So it's like he played 38 minutes in the last game, and he was playing 25 plus in the games before. Like that's awesome from a guy for 3,900, but his usage is so low. He's not grabbing rebounds, getting a couple assists. Like it's not really scoring points. And so, what was his ownership coming at? 10%. The model is telling us he's a really good value and projected for 33 minutes. The minutes do seem very secure. But I mean, this would be a tough spot for me if I have. I don't even know if I got there in my set today. Okay, I got 5% of Krejci. He's projected 410. So not a guy that I love. I just another guy that hasn't shown us a ceiling, but his ownership doesn't seem too egregious.
Yeah, like I probably am right there with you. I'd get to maybe 5%, but if the model likes him, man, I think he could be worth the stab, I guess.
You know, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, we love. Devin Booker showing up near the top of value is pretty interesting as one of the pay ups that, I mean, 15 and 18%. It's not bad ownership. Gary Trent, Vasily Micic, who I like Vasily Micic back down to 5,400. He was up at 6K. His usage has not fell with Trey Mann back in the starting lineup. I mean, are you looking at Trey Mann or Micic today at all? Like deep shot GPP plays, maybe?
I mean, I get the GPP shots, but I just feel like you got to pick the right one, and then they're both like volatile as well. So I think they're both fine at GPPs. I don't have a certain stand on either one.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention them because they are there. They do have that ceiling, and I guess they're pulling a little bit of ownership. But the other guard, so I mentioned Pritchard and Derek White, my two highest owned guards, and then up next it's actually Cole Anthony. And I see a question in chat about Jalen Suggs. I think these guys are fantastic low owned. Well, I guess Cole Anthony is not that low owned. Missed that earlier, but his price is definitely very good. 4,300 for Cole Anthony, even at 17%, I think is fine. Markel Fultz, I was surprised I got a few percent of today. He's been bad not playing many minutes, but he's 3,500 now, so I think we can take some shots. And then Jalen Suggs is a guy that I'm probably just going to be over the field on every single day for the rest of the season. I mean, only projected for 29 minutes, but Orlando has shortened up their rotation a little bit. And Jalen Suggs, I mean, I just feel like he comes in under owned every single day.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. I do prefer Cole Anthony out of the bunch the most. At 4,300, he's actually been pretty good as of late. So do like Cole Anthony. And then I think Suggs is fine as well. He also has a huge ceiling. So I'm definitely fine with both the guards there.
And for specifically on FanDuel, I mean, FanDuel value 12.3, like just sorting by this, uh, barely makes that first page of value. So at 3% ownership, if this is your GPP shot, I think that's great. If you're just mixing it up with a bunch of the chalk. What do we think about Caleb Houston? You have any thoughts about Caleb Houston?
I probably won't be playing him. He just like I don't know if you think this, but I just don't think he's a very good producer, man. And I know he's cheap, but I don't know, man. Caleb Houston, I'm not usually flocking to play.
No. So he's a flat man. It looked like he was 0% ownership. I just don't see what we're trying to. I don't know. It's kind of like this is one of those plays where just what are you hoping happens? You know, he plays the 36 minutes. He did one time, put up 39 fantasy points one time. And again, like we don't have that many top pay ups to pay up for on the slate. So I don't think that playing guys at the min price like this are necessary today.
Yeah, I agree. And just a really bad producer, as you can see from the game log. So,
Ian, y'all playing any Krejci? Like on the single game, maybe. But like on the main slate, I don't. I think I got 5%. Maybe I'll keep that. Maybe I'll get rid of it. But
yeah, agreed.
If you're getting Cole Anthony in as a last piece on FanDuel rebuild, Cole Anthony on FanDuel 5K coming in at 5%. Uh, I think it's fine. I mean, if you already have a couple other low owned pieces in your lineup, it's probably not necessary. But if this is like one of your ways to get your lineup a little bit different with a bunch of the chalk, then I think Cole Anthony's great. I mean, he'll go through like up and down where he'll have a week averaging 40 and then a week averaging 12. So, you just got to take it as it comes. Just the 4,300 on DraftKings is a really good price for him. The 5K, I mean, it's not a great price, but I don't think it's too bad. It's fine if you're playing like the large field GPPs. If you're playing small field, I probably just would avoid Cole Anthony though.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good matchup against Sacramento. So I agree. I like to target him when he's playing well, and he is kind of playing better right now. So I definitely pound with that.
Yeah, we just got news. John Collins is in tonight, as expected. So Cole Anthony or Dylan Brooks. Let's take a look here. Cole Anthony, Orlando, Houston. Let's sort by DK value. Dylan Brooks is the top of DK value. Cole Anthony is considerably lower, so it's just Dylan Brooks, not even close. Same with FanDuel too. Yeah, Dylan Brooks is going to be the preferred play today. Dylan Brooks 7 OF index, Cole Anthony 5. Yeah, at similar ownership, the model thinks it's just Dylan Brooks all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna override them all. I think Cole Anthony's a better play, but I'm also kind of anti Dylan Brooks.
I mean, I don't disagree that Cole Anthony probably has like the higher ceiling,
Yeah,
but like ceiling. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the model. It says Dylan Brooks the best value. I'm gonna take it.
I agree.
Houston's gonna break the slate tonight, y'all. I'll tell you what, man. If Caleb Houston breaks the slate tonight, I'll buy you a week membership to the Occupy model. How's that?
I think that's a fair deal for him.
Let's take a look at the forwards. So we already mentioned top of the list: Jason Tatum, KD, Kyle Kuzma, I was about to say Paulo DeRozan, Paulo Banchero, DeMar DeRozan. I mean, are we super interested in any of these guys? They're all coming in pretty low except for Tatum.
Yeah, I don't hate KD. We mentioned Book earlier. It's just a pretty good spot for Phoenix against San Antonio. So I'm fine with KD in tournaments. The rest of these guys, we mentioned Kuzma. He's also fine, but I'm not really getting too much like DeRozan or Banchero. But I get getting to them, I guess.
Yeah, Banchero coming up in price to 8,800. I feel like if he was 8K, I'd be getting a ton of him. That extra 800 kind of makes a big difference. But at 2%, if you're making 150, like I would still get him in a few lineups. I mean, and these other guys in your top, like I love Franz Wagner. I think his price is great, but he's been so bad lately, and he's taking a backseat to Paolo, which is really frustrating because like every advanced stat I've seen says that Franz is better than Paolo in terms of like helping his team win basketball games. So we'll see how that plays out. And I see a question in the chat from OS. Thoughts on Grayson Allen for 6.1K? What do you think, Jayhawk?
Yeah, he's another guy that's very shooting reliant. He's in a good spot though. Like San Antonio is good for honestly like any position. So I think he's fine in tournaments. Don't load the price up.
Yeah, another guy whose like median projection is going to be awful, but he's shown that ceiling so often this year. And sentence I would like, this is crazy. He's the best shooter in the NBA right now, shooting 48%, and he's taking uh wait. Yeah, he's shooting 48% and he's taking 6 a game. Like that's one of the best shooters of all time, dude. Isn't that insane?
Grayson
Uh
Allen,
my
legend.
my thing is like, yeah, if he puts up this 30, we're not super disappointed, but we're not going to win a GPP probably. If he puts up 25, 26, we're kind of disappointed, but that he has the potential to put up 52, 45, hit 9 threes, 6 threes, 8 threes, 8 threes, like I think that he's a guy that we want to be over the field on like basically every day. And you don't have to get much to get over the field. He's projected for what, 5% ownership, 3% ownership on DraftKings. If you play, like if you're playing the 20 max and you play Grayson Allen in 2 of your lineups, you're 3x a field. Like that's incredible leverage. You could just play him in 1 of your lineups. And a lot of the people playing the 20 max won't even have him in their pool. And so you don't have to get much. But this is a guy, yeah, I don't mind being over the field on him every single day.
Yeah, and I always note this like he fits the DraftKings scoring so like
Yeah.
optimally. Like he's perfect for DraftKings.
And it's insane because he's playing next to Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal and Nurkic, and we're talking about a 6K Grayson Allen that we're still interested in playing. So he's been great.
Yeah, I love all these Phoenix guys at low ownerships. It's just I know it's at San Antonio, but I mean they just got beat by Memphis last night, so they're definitely vulnerable for sure.
And we just got some news. Kobe White's available to play. We'll have to see if he ends up starting again. That game is second on the slate. We're probably going to get that starting lineup right after the Sacramento Orlando game locks. Yurt 7 is ruled out, so we weren't super excited to play him anyway, but maybe it's a couple more minutes for Hendricks, maybe a couple more minutes for Walker Kessler. We'll take a look at them when we get to center in a second. I mean, other forwards. See a pretty fun comment from Anthony. Sam Hauser breaking a 3-point record. Which 3-point record is that?
Yeah, is he really like that high up? Like no way, right?
Sam Hauser, projected for 9% ownership on DraftKings. He's 32 on FanDuel at 4,500. That's probably correct. Yeah, Sam Hauser looks like one of the easy plays on FanDuel today. Model likes him too. I mean, top of forward value next to Baji. Sam Hauser. I mean, the minutes are there. Guys are out for the Boston. 24 minutes is fine. I think at the FanDuel price of 5,300, I'd still be a little uncomfortable, but he does get the bonus if he hits 10 threes again. And so I don't know. This was a play where if his ownership was much higher, I would just have no interest. But his ownership is, I mean, on DraftKings anyway, at 9%. I think it's fine to take some shots. And then on FanDuel, 4,500, that seems like a really good play, I think.
Yeah, so I don't hate him here. I think he's also kind of dependent on Tatum's news because if Tatum's out, I feel like he'd be way better at 5,300. So I still like him in tournaments, but definitely would be better at Tatum sits.
Um, and then I'll get to the center questions in one moment. Excuse me. Does Amon Thompson look like a good play today? Yeah, it sounded like we're both into him. The model is slowly getting higher on Amon Thompson. I think as we get more data with him being the fantasy stud that he is, he's going to keep rising. But yeah, the model thinks he's a fine play.
Yeah.
The thing I did mention earlier, though, was like we haven't projected for 28 minutes. It doesn't seem like he has much potential to play much more than that. But he's been so good in those 28 minutes that it's still enough for him to get there. But that would be like my one reservation to playing him is he probably won't play more than 30.
Yeah, no, agreed for sure.
Any other forwards you want to mention? You can start by ownership.
Yeah, I mean, Noir is almost up to 5K. I thought he'd be chalkier, but he's been kind of up and down, man.
He's been
Yeah, it's
down.
just
He's been down and
he's been
down.
down. Yeah. I don't think I can play him close to 5K now. So yeah, I don't know, man. I just wanted to note him because he's been kind of chalky the past few slates. So
I went on kind of a rant about Nora yesterday when I was on the show with Nick. And it's a similar situation today where everyone keeps chasing this man. I don't know how he ended up being the chalk yesterday, and I still ate it. I talked myself into like someone has to shoot for this team. It's of course it's going to be the guy off the bench playing 20 minutes. He's only 10% owned. If you want to take a few shots in your set, I think it's okay. But I feel like we just keep chasing this guy, and he keeps letting us down.
yeah, especially at that price point now, I feel like his ceiling's kind of gone per se. So
Right, right. Like we have to get 30, or
Mhm.
else playing him was uh, just if he doesn't score 30 at this price, then playing him isn't going to work out. And it's like it's pretty clear the coaching staff doesn't love him because if the coaching staff really liked him, he would be playing 30 minutes right now with how battered this team is. But they're playing other guys, so
Yeah,
I don't know. I say all that he's going to put up 30 tonight for sure now against Washington.
definitely, definitely gonna nuke now.
Hunter, DeAndre Hunter, I'm assuming. I think we both thought that he was fine. Yeah, the price is a little bit kind of a sticker shock since he came back and he's been balling.
Yeah,
I will point out that Jalen Johnson is off the court, which is kind of a big deal for DeAndre Hunter. Like I was so high on DeAndre Hunter coming into the season. John Collins gone. I thought this was going to be like the Trey's sidekick, Trey and DeJounte's sidekick, but no, it's Jalen Johnson. Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hunter, did he finally start the previous game? Do you know, or did he still
he
come off the
did.
bench?
That's why I really like him, Ted, too, is we're finally getting him starting, which
Okay,
is
nice, nice.
pretty big. Yeah.
Um, yeah, he did start the previous game, so yeah, 6K. I think he's great. As long as Jalen Johnson stays out, he's going to be fine around this price.
Yeah. And I prefer him to Bogdanovich. That's just a take like that I have. Nothing wrong with Bogdanovich. I just prefer Hunter at 6K.
I will say the model is actually kind of significantly higher on Bogdanovich. What I was going to say was that If you need a guard, I guess they both have small forward eligibility. If you need a shooting guard, though, play Bogdanovich. If you need a power forward, play Hunter. And if you need a small forward, which can be either of them, I mean, if you have the salary, maybe just get up to Bogdanovich, but probably flip a coin or save that 600 and upgrade someone else.
Yep, agreed.
Kuzma looks like a solid play going away from Tatum. Yeah, man, I'm over on Kuzma like every single day, and it works out sometimes. It's a really good matchup against Toronto. 231.5 total. Like this is what I would expect the total to be in that Charlotte Atlanta game. So I'm surprised that this game is that much higher. But yeah, Kuzma under 10% at 8,400. I still think he's a great play. This is one of the best matchups possible for him, even though he's close to max price. We're getting an ownership discount. So Kuzma, really good GPP play. Yeah, that's it. I'll just say really good GPP play, I think.
Yep, completely agreed. Great GPP play.
Model agrees too. And let's go ahead and get into centers. Wemby and Sabonis. I don't know what's up with Sabonis, man. This dude had the most cake matchup he's had all season against, who was it, against Washington. And he had, I mean, it's crazy. 14, 14, and 6 is probably the worst game he's had all year. Uh, First time he like completely failed. I guess he failed another time, but Sabonis against Orlando. This is a team I really hate targeting players against, especially centers. And Sabonis is finally max price. I don't think I'm going to end up getting there. I'd much rather just play Wemby at 6% ownership. But Sabonis is coming in super low owned. And so if you want to take some GPP shots, I mean, I think he's overpriced. But I mean, the model is still kind of not low on him anyway.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I just feel like Wemby should be higher priced than him, and Wemby's shown.
Yeah.
Although I think Sabonis has a safer floor than Wemby, I think Wemby has the way higher ceiling. So I prefer Wemby as well.
And floor could matter tonight. Like the center options on this slate aren't fantastic. I mean, sorting by ISO, Bruno Fernando 50%, Clint Capella 22, Kelly Olynyk 19, Mohamedou Gay 10, 11. Everyone else is single digit ownership. Yeah, center's been tough recently, and so yeah, if you want to get to 3% owned Sabonis, he burned everyone, and I think this is a terrible matchup for him. But he's 3% owned. We know what he's capable of. So
Yeah, agreed.
and Wemby. I mean, yeah, Wemby just this guy's a GPP play, man. Like,
Mhm.
he's so good at basketball, it's insane.
It's
I,
insane. Easily.
I type in Wemby, of course, it's not going to pop up.
We should just name him that on DraftKings, just Wemby.
It's like it's a wide range of outcomes, right? But we're playing him for this 70 fantasy point upside. This is insane how many times he's dropped 70. Actually, I haven't scrolled through this before, but
Yeah.
like we're not playing him for this, 56. I guess 56 would be fine tonight, but we're not playing him for this 53 fantasy points. We're playing him to hopefully give us 68 or 70 or something. But this seems like it might be a lower ish scoring slate. And so that thing that Jayhawk just mentioned about Demantis floor, like raw points could matter tonight. I know it's kind of a larger slate, but it just, we don't have the pay ups there, guys. I can drop 50, sure. But floor might matter a little bit. So, like, I think we do want to pay up for these guys, and 50 fantasy points could be enough. Same with like Tatum.
Yeah. One thing I also wanted to note, just with the matchup, is like I feel like Wemby and Luka are like two players that are just truly matchup proof. Like we just saw Jaren Jackson, the defensive player of the year last year, didn't stop him at all. So
Nothing he can
um,
do.
yeah, like he's just insane, man. So I never really factor any type of matchup at all with him.
Leon in chat letting us know Tatum and Horford are in. Thank you. And Horford being in is actually kind of a big deal. We'll take a look at Boston in a moment. Wembanyama is playing back to back. Does that matter? I don't think it has really mattered for him. Let's see his like other back to backs on March 11 and March 12 against Golden State and Houston. Put up 56 and 42, but he played 31 minutes in both games. Other back to back February 22nd, 23rd, put up 62 and then 73. Played 31 in both games. I mean December 7th and 8th. So 2 out of the 3 back to back sets recently he failed in the second game, but in one of them he definitely won someone a tournament. So I think it's fine. The 31 minutes in back-to-back games, I'm seeing like that. That's enough for me to play him today.
Yeah. He did play 33 last night. I don't know if that affects him too much, but he should play at least 30, I think.
Yeah, if we don't get any word on like any type of minutes restriction, I would just assume he's going to play his regular minutes tonight.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at Boston real quick, and then we'll get out of here. I know you got to get into the Discord. um, yeah, Al Horford. I mean, 6,300 is this guy we're looking at today. 6,200 on FanDuel, even though he's center only. Doesn't sound awful at 15%.
Yeah, once again, I don't hate him. He's kind of a safer play. I'm not safe play. He's 6,200, but he's probably good for like 30. I just don't see the ceiling here at that price. So I'm not too high on him.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like, I think he does have a ceiling. But if he was like lower owned, I'd be more interested. But like, not that this is egregious ownership or anything. But if I'm taking shots on Al Horford, I want to get him at like 2 or 3% owned. We have some other plays on the slate today. I forgot about your question, Ian. Any Landale? Yeah, I still like Landale tonight. He had a monster game last time. And this is something I think Nick mentioned that the team they play against Minnesota or Cleveland, Chicago, that Chicago could play big, so Landale might get more minutes. We saw him play 27 and 26 minutes last week too, though. And so the potential to get up 27 minutes, especially against Utah, fantastic fantasy producer. I like Jock Landale tonight.
Yeah. We mentioned him earlier. I think he's a solid tournament staff here, so definitely don't mind Londo.
And then
However,
So, sorry to mean to cut you off. Trying to finish this up. Bagley on FanDuel at 5,600. So he's coming off an extended absence. He's coming in at 15% owned, but we haven't projected for 25 minutes. I feel like 25 is kind of reasonable. Maybe you can play like 27 or something, but 5,600 on FanDuel, especially with the power forward eligibility, I would take shots on Bagley as a GPP play. I mean, I'm playing him over on DraftKings, I think. So I would definitely be playing him on FanDuel.
yep, agreed with Bagley there.
Is Tatum projecting more than Murray now? Let me just do one quick refresh.
He should be.
Yeah, Tatum was still the top of the model, projected for 37 minutes, 30% ownership basically on both sides. I mean, Tatum is like the easy stud play today. If you're playing someone else, you're getting away from Tatum, right? So,
yeah.
But like I said all day, I'm playing a bunch of Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, and so I'm not going to set a rule, like a group, to not get those three in lineups as much. But I'll just say that I'm playing more Peyton Pritchard and Derek White tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Who's the first player in the dummy? Is it Bruno Fernando?
It's got to be Fernando, right?
Fernando and Pritchard.
Yeah, Fernando, Pritchard, and we both mentioned like White, right? So maybe all three of those guys.
All right, let's do it.
If we can.
Boston plays later. I mean, I guess this last game. Just make sure you set up your stuff so you can swap after this first game starts, because we are going to get a starting lineup, and it's probably. I mean, it should be what we expect, but Kuz and Wemby instead of Tatum. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, that's a pivot right there.
Yeah, especially if you have like three other Boston guys too. Like you have Hauser, Pritchard, White, or like Horford, Pritchard, White. I think that's definitely fine.
I'm pretty sure my single entry has Kuzma and Wemby in it instead of Tatum right now, so I like it. We'll see how it works out for us. Can you play Hauser and Pritchard? I don't see a problem with it, right?
I'm fine with that, man. Especially with Brown out, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's probably uncomfortable. Probably don't want to play like Pritchard, White, Tatum, and Hauser in the same lineup. But if you're getting like three of those guys, yeah, it's absolutely fine. I mean, Hauser's been playing pretty good minutes off the bench. Only played 24 yesterday, but he has the ability to get hot. I think his DraftKings price is a little bit higher than I'd like to pay. Where's Hauser? What is his position? Shooting guard, small forward. Yeah, 5,300 is a little more than I'd like to pay, but he was cheaper on FanDuel, so don't mind it there. Makes sense as chalk. Who else are we plugging in?
Ooh, this is tough. Let's I don't want to say Wemby because like I don't want to, we could go Wemby.
Let's go Wemby.
Let's go Wemby. All right,
let's go Wemby. Leaves us 56.50 for the other positions. I just wanted to see if I was like getting a ton of anyone in the mid range. Like I said, I'm getting a bunch of Cole Anthony. I'm getting a bunch of the three Houston guys. Should we try and get one of these Houston guys in there?
Yeah, I really like Fred VanVleet and Amon, so I'm fine with either one of those, and I'd be fine with Jalen too if you'd rather go Jalen.
Let's put in Amon Thompson, just given the salary that we have left, 6,600 and 5,300 for power forward, guard, and a forward. I'm trying to see like what is the chalk, like cheap chalk power forward. There's no cheap chalk power forward over on DraftKings. Highest owned power forward is I guess Bruno Fernando, but
yeah. Like, okay, I wanted to ask you just real quick, like, what do we project minutes wise for for Gay. I think that's how you pronounce it. Like, do you think he's gonna get like what Porter got off the bench, or like I don't? I'm just trying to project that.
It seemed so. I mean, we're we were completely guessing here, but it seems like they don't want to play Kelly Olynyk all the minutes. Um, like, yeah, they really don't want to play Kelly Olynyk. Maybe that changes with Porter out and them not having another solid option. But I don't know. It's tough to see this gay guy playing that many minutes, right?
Yeah, no, I was just curious because like they played Jonte a good chunk of minutes, and he's the direct backup. So I was
Yeah,
just
it's
curious.
like we know Jonte's good at least, so he's shown us that he can produce solid fantasy points. I mean, not that Mohamedou can't, but I haven't seen it from him, and this minutes is not encouraging.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Play Houston, Anthony says. I'm gonna let you take down the tournament tonight. You can play Caleb Houston down.
Yeah, we can go. I feel like we probably should get another Atlanta piece, maybe like Hunter
Let's put in
Bogdan.
Hunter at
Yeah,
power forward.
let's go
You liked
Hunter.
him more than Bogdan, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And then a 5K guard. I mean, since I'm just gonna wrap this up so we can get out of here and you can get into the Discord. I'm just gonna plug in Cole Anthony as like the GPP piece, and then 5,700 Corey Kispert, I guess. I mean, I don't love any of these guys. Keegan Murray seems fine as a GPP play, but he's playing Orlando. Or we could pay up at guard with someone like I mean, we could get crazy and plug in Ao Desunmu, 3,100. It's not gonna work, but you guys can fill in the last pieces. Let me bring up the ownership one more time. Yeah, I mean, Fernando, Pritchard, White seems like a pretty solid start to the lineups. We both like Amon. Yeah, and then we have a lot of options from there. You have any final words before we get out of here?
not too much. Just good luck tonight, guys, and pretty fun slate. So, yeah, good luck.
Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bearing with us today. I've been sick. I don't know if you can tell, but just real quick, last question. Dalen Terry. We have projected for 11 minutes. I don't think that's a spot that I would go to tonight, but
Yeah.
we will. Well, Jayhawk will see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back on like Monday or something, but appreciate you guys. Thank you.